Hello. I thought it'd be nice to jump into voiceover for a full video about inking and the inking process that I've been going through for the past however many days. Um, this is drawing, I believe, number 28. So it's taken me 28 days to feel confident enough to just bang out my ink drawings for the rest of the month, which is crazy because I've been inking for so long, but just the act of doing it every single day has really just improved my confidence overall. So basically, the first thing I do is I obviously draw up my sketch and design in pencil. And then after that, I will just outline it, let it dry for 30 to 40 minutes, and then erase, which is the first thing you see me doing is erasing all those pencil lines and prepping the paper. Then after that, I'm going to go in and start shading. So one of the most important things for me is I'm right-handed, so I'm working from top left down to bottom right, and that just prevents any smudging. I believe really one of the key things to think about is your hand and your hand placement, because nothing is worse than smudging and being upset about it. So luckily I haven't smudged any of my Inktober pieces, but it's because I'm hyper aware of the way my hand is being placed on paper. And you can see I'm like literally throwing my paper in like several different directions in order to get my hand out of the way, but still feel comfortable drawing these lines as straight as possible and just manipulating the lines and the dip pen. So for this whole piece specifically, I'm using dip pen only, so it's going to be very line orientated, very technical. One of the biggest things that I find is helpful is using your lines to create value and dimension along with the help of the paper background. So my paper background here is white. I'm placing my lines extremely strategically so that it's basically coming out the way I want it to. You see those darker areas are basically multiple lines stitched together to form a dark color, while the lighter areas are multiple lines spread far apart so that white shows through. And then I will obviously leave patches of whites in the leaves just to create some dimension, some value. Value is definitely a big one for me. The middle of the leaves are darker while the outside of the leaves are lighter for a reason. It just creates a nice little crinkly value. I'm jumping in to talk about supplies a bit. I'm using Bristol paper. I just use Strathmore, so pretty much everything I use is from Michaels. I don't really order anything online. And this is the 9 by 12 packet, which is a great size to be honest, because you can do little pieces or big pieces, it doesn't really matter. The Bristol paper is just very smooth and ideal for inking, as a lot of people know. Along with that, I'm using my dip pen, also from Michaels. The only thing I dislike about dip pens is I feel like these are pretty cheap, so I've gone through them quite fast, and unfortunately I would probably have to buy a whole new set in order to replace it, like with the pen holder included. It just seems to not be very versatile in terms of getting nibs instead of buying a whole set, at least at the store. The other thing is I'm using Dr. Martin's ink, the Bombay collection. That's the only ink I've been using this whole time, and I really love it. It's very like, it's a very nice finish. The one thing I've noticed about this specific color is when it pools, it looks like an ugly green, which I don't like. So at the end there, you can see I'm making a conscious effort to spread my lines out more rather than leaving very dark patches like when I first started. So it's just sort of trial and error. I didn't have that problem with the black or the red. I think it's just this color pigment is very difficult to work with, but overall I do love the way this piece turned out, so I have no complaints about it. So we're nearing the end now. Fur is very interesting to draw, to be honest. It's a very different sort of line work. It's more curved. You can add actual like smaller triangles basically to mimic the fur. I think it all depends on placement as well, because you don't want to put too much fur in because it will be very overwhelming to the eye. So I like to spread out that fur, and once you get the correct placement for the fur, it's actually way better than putting a ton of fur in. So I think around the nose, around the eyes, below the ears, and just in general places where the fur is important, it really helps the piece. You can see for the whiskers, I just flopped them in and it worked out. Whiskers are weird as well, but usually you can just sort of wing that part. The eye filling, this one was weird. Usually I fill in the eyes completely and just leave a little white ball, but this one I sort of scratched in the color, and I really like how that turned out. So it's more of a sparkly eye rather than one focal point for the light source. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. Let me know if you would like to see more of these. Bye!